According to Eddie Hearn, Conor Benn must face a hearing into his failed drug test, even if it means breaching his contract with Matchroom. The Matchroom boss said before the British Board of Control stated that Benn had resigned his license before hearing last week, which Benn has subsequently claimed was unrelated to the failed test that caused his fight with Chris Eubank Jr. to be cancelled. So far, here's what we know. To begin, Eddie Hearn discusses the boxing future of Conor Benn. Benn has 3 fights left on his Matchroom contract. Still, while Hearn stated that Benn was not suspended after failing the VADA test in September, he believes Benn should have a hearing either with the BBBOC or UK anti-doping before returning, even though he thinks other commissions would license him. "I would accept it only if he had gone through a hearing," Hearn remarked. "I could have scheduled Ben Eubank on November 5th in Abu Dhabi, but it would have looked bad. To be cleared to fight, he must go through the process. I can't just walk in and breach the contract if he's clear to fight." It's an excellent point. If Matchroom stated that we were unwilling to cooperate with Conor Benn until he went through a hearing, I suppose he could compete somewhere. If he came to us now and said, "I'm fine to fight in Abu Dhabi, I'm fine to fight in Florida, Texas, Germany, or Australia," all of those jurisdictions would clear him. At that point, we must decide whether to stage the fight or not to stage the battle. I'm telling you right now that I'm not going to stage the fight until he's had some hearing. Moving on, the bout between Benn and Eubank was finally called off 2 days before it was scheduled to take place at the O2 Arena. Benn tested positive for the female fertility medicine clomiphene, which can also be used to increase testosterone levels, in a sample taken around the beginning of September. On September 23rd, it was brought to the attention of the BBBOC and the fighters and promoters. However, Hearn maintained that it was not within his power to cancel the fight once Eubank indicated that he intended to go on with it, as the contractual authority to do so only lied with the BBBOC or with Eubank himself. The news of the failed test was published in an article in the Daily Mail on October 5th, just minutes before the British Boxing Board of Control, BBBOC, issued a statement claiming that they had chosen to forbid the bout in the interest of boxing. The BBBOC claimed that the decision to forbid the bout had been made at a meeting the previous evening. According to Hearn, the decision of the board was communicated to him before publishing the piece. He stated that he had never been willing to proceed under the censure of another federation, and that he eventually decided not to pursue legal action on an injunction against the BBBOC's decision because it was a horrible look. He stated that he had never been willing to proceed under the censure of another federation. Following that, the BBBOC's decision was delayed. Hearn asserts that the protracted process through which the BBBOC arrived at its decision to prohibit the fight cost him a significant amount of money. He estimated that Matchroom had lost around £1 million due to the postponement. This figure included approximately £400,000 spent on hotels and events during fight week that, had they been cancelled, may have resulted in some cost savings. Hearn expressed his displeasure with the board's actions, saying, "I was extremely disappointed with how the board handled it. For the past 7 hours, I've been pondering what we ought to do in this situation, and these are the options that have been presented to us. Shall we seek an injunction? After I talked with the attorneys, they told me, you win easily. The fact that he was not disqualified led many others to favor another commission. Ultimately, we concluded that we would not proceed with this struggle. We believe a hearing should have occurred before the board made its judgment. Due to the contract's terms, Matchroom cannot cancel the bout until the board has rendered its decision. Chris Eubank Jr. can, since Conor Benn did not pass a test, but he wanted to keep going, so we left the decision up to the board. There was no demand from Dazn to keep continuing." Next up, there was no usage of chemical enhancements. Hearn believes that Benn did not use the drug to improve his performance. Nonetheless, it is up to Benn to demonstrate this, and Hearn believes that the general public would not accept him if he got off. He is not guilty, in my opinion. However, he added, "You must accept responsibility for something being identified in your system, whether or not you were unfortunate in this regard. Based on what I know and suspect, the prohibition's objective is to suppress popular sentiment and media coverage of this scenario. I don't think the general public will be pleased with him if he is unable to pinpoint a specific pollution problem or or whatever it may be. People will believe that he's gotten off it. On the other hand, I do not believe he should be suspended for an extended period. I don't think he cheated, and I don't think he used a drug to boost his physical performance so he could compete at a higher level. His professional status, in my opinion, should not be damaged in any manner. That is founded on both scientific research findings and my personal belief in him as a person. He is a God-fearing man, and he had the courage to say that in this situation, he had to be honest and find out what happened rather than saying, yes, this happened, give me 3 months. He did this because he wanted to know the truth about what happened. In retrospect, Hearn wishes the BBBOC had tackled the situation more quickly. It would have been so much better for everyone if they had taken the decision when they were informed, and none of this would have happened. We would have stated we were going to have an emergency hearing and reschedule the fight. It was the last thing anyone wanted to be pushed under the rug. No one was ever at ease on any side. Despite the recent scandal, Hearn believes that he has become resistant to the criticism he's encountered and that the scenario was not as difficult to deal with as when JARRELL Miller failed a drug test ahead of his fight with Anthony Joshua in 2019. In this business, you become cold and soulless, Hearn explained. If this had happened to me 5 or 6 years ago, I'm not sure I'd be sitting here today. Unfortunately, it's the world's worst business and saps all emotion. The JARRELL Miller news was the worst I'd had to deal with, and it wasn't even my boxer. Margaret Goodman contacted me from VADA after I had sold out Madison Square Garden, and I was practically on my knees. The Dillian Whyte issue before his fight with Oscar Rivas was appalling. I was walking to a news conference when I received a phone call from Robert Smith saying, I believe there's a problem with Dillian Whyte's drug test. I've learned that she will have to deal with some horrifying things. All the sticks I got from this 4 or 5 years ago would have probably broken me. However, you grow immune. Finally, the Nevada State Athletic Commission granted JARRELL Miller a provisional boxing license. The Nevada State Athletic Commission already suspended Miller before the fight planned to take place between him and Jerry Forrest on July 9, 2020. Miller has disputed charges that he willfully took a performance-enhancing drug, which led to the cancellation of a scheduled fight in Las Vegas that was supposed to take place there. Due to a negative result from a drug test conducted in March of that year, the New York State Athletic Commission did not grant the Brooklyn heavyweight a license to compete against Anthony Joshua in 2019. This decision was made. Miller apologized and promised to come back better in a video statement uploaded on Instagram and shared. After the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, VADA, alerted both camps of an adverse finding in a drug testing sample, which resulted in him being denied a license for the date at Madison Square Garden, the participation of Miller in his Joshua bout was already in peril. The unbeaten boxer, who is now 34 years old, made his ring comeback earlier this year, winning 2 fights in Buenos Aires and Tennessee without drawing any attention to himself. On the other hand, Miller has received the all-clear to compete in Las Vegas in the next weeks and months. JARRELL Miller was given a 2022 professional boxer's license, said the statement sent to Sky Sports by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. This license, valid until the end of the year, will expire at the end of 2018. Well, that marks the end of our video for today. We hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.